Hey, this is DJ James from musicmoose.org. We're going to deal a little bit more with some more funk guitar right now. The last couple lessons I've played a little bit of some fills that happen in between a lot of the riffs that I've been working with, especially these bass fills. And what I want to do now is really kind of clue you in onto different ways you can handle these types of fills. The first thing that you should remember is while you're playing these, right hand has to keep pumping out those 16th notes. Sometimes if you really want to accent, you could break it down. And the idea is to put these in a place where they'll do two things. Three things, actually. First of all, really punctuate the harmony that you're dealing with. So, if we're on a C9 chord, for instance, we really want to hammer the fact that we're playing a C9. And the way that I did it there was by using C and B flat, which gives us a really strong feeling of being located firmly on C. Another way we can do it is, or some other notes that we can use in there, is basically by emphasizing that C blues scale. By emphasizing that C blues scale, what we're really getting at is something that, again, emphasizes the harmony, emphasizes the fact that we're firmly on C, but also gives us something that rhythmically kind of hammers things home. The other thing that we're doing with that as well is by using something that is, and honestly the Fender Strat's a great guitar to do this, you get a really nice punchy tone out of those low notes, which creates a very solid sound. And again, this was something that Stevie Ray Vaughan knew very well and used all the time, was really sort of emphasizing those punchy low notes. Another place where you hear this is the music of Sly Stone, emphasizing those kind of low fills that in a lot of ways create a second bass line that's happening against something that's way down below. Now, what I want to do right now is play through a C blues progression, 12-bar blues progression in C, and focus on different ways that we can really emphasize what chord we're on, first of all, and emphasize rhythmically where we are in the progression. So if we start off, one thing that you can do is start off by using something that hammers away that bass note. So 2, 3, 4. Emphasizing that bass note. When we move then to the F chord, to the 4, which in this case I'm going to play an F9, we can then emphasize the bass note of the F by staying within that C blues scale, but really playing an arpeggio out of the notes of the F. So let's start off with that C again. What we're hammering there is the fact that, and that time I overemphasized those bass notes to really kind of give you a sense of what you can do with those. And you will have noticed there that by really sort of focusing on them too much, sometimes we lose a little bit of sense of the rhythm because pumping out those 16th notes doesn't really come out as well as it does with those chords. But again, purely sort of a pedagogical, demonstrative thing, the reason that I did that. But the point being, what you really want to do with those chords is, or what those sorts of fills is, hammer out the bass notes, give your listener a sense of where that one is, where the 2 and the 4 are, but also where the 1 is, and what chords you're playing at any given moment, especially if you want to get into using different voicings that sit up higher a little bit or might be something that's a little bit different. One thing that you'll find is, for those of you who are interested in playing funk and start to get into playing these a lot, is you'll play a lot more 3 and 4 note voicings that a lot of times will sit up high in the neck and can confuse the listener. For instance, one that's incredibly popular in funk and that I've been hearing from a lot of guitarists is using kind of just a little 2-note voicing right in the middle of the chord and maybe throwing a 9th on top of it, really high. So you might get something happening in the guitar like, and that voicing, by just emphasizing the 2 notes with maybe a 9th on the top, sometimes can lose your listener. Using that little bass, those little bass fills can reorient the tune. And like I said before, sometimes provide almost like a second bass line for the bassist. And really sort of one of the things you want to do in funk when you're playing any type of blues progression is really sort of drive home that one, drive home where you are, and give the listeners a sense of knowing where they are. And by using those sort of bass riffs, by using those sorts of fills, that's exactly what you're going to do. For musicmoose.org, I'm DJ James.